Many years ago, in the beautiful city of Lagos, there lived a very beautiful and proud woman called Folashade Adekunle. She was very particular about her image and cared deeply about what people thought of her. So she always made sure to present herself perfectly to the neighbors and her friends. She had a reputation to uphold, and in her mind, appearance was everything. Folashade had only one daughter, whose name was Bidemi. From the day she was born, Folashade had dreams for her daughter. She planned to dress her daughter beautifully and make beautiful hairstyles for her too. She planned to do a lot of mommy and me styles with her daughter. She wanted her daughter to become an ideal image of beauty and grace, someone she could proudly show off to friends and family. But as Bidemi grew older, she did not fit into this image that Folashade had in her head. Instead, Bidemi was a chubby child. She was fat, and her love for food was second to none. And this was a cause of constant worry for her mother. Each time her mother, Folashade, saw her eating, she would yell and scream at her, saying, Bidemi, Bidemi, what are you eating again? Why is your mouth always busy? Chon, 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 chon. One day, you will soon burst. Folashade would scream angrily at her daughter, and her daughter, Bidemi, would simply reply and say, I'm sorry, mommy, with tears streaming down her eyes. And Folashade will retort angrily, saying, well, sorry will not make you slim. Can't you see how other children your age look nice? Why is your own case different? You had better change oh, before it is too late. Folashade would say very harshly. Bidemi always felt hurt whenever her mother spoke to her like this, and she would run to her room and cry and weep. She could not understand why she was never enough for her mother, why her mother would not love her regardless of her size, and why her mother would not just let her be. But it was not just her mother that was body shaming her and making her life miserable. Because even at school, things weren't easy either. Some of her classmates were as cruel as her mother. They would tease her and mock her about her weight. But nothing hurt her more than her own mother's cruel words to her. Her father, Mr. Adekunle, was a gentleman, and he often tried to protect Bidemi from her mother's harshness. But he rarely succeeded because Folashade was very vicious. So one night, Mr. Adekunle called his wife and tried to reason with her, saying, Folashade, ìyàwó mi, please take it easy on our daughter and leave this girl alone. I know that you mean well because she's our only child, but she's still a child and she will lose this weight in time. Besides, even if she doesn't lose the weight, it should not be a problem because I think it's her nature. If you look at my mother was very fat too. So maybe she got this fatness from my own side. You know, not everybody is supposed to be slim. If everybody is slim, who will not be fat? Adekunle said, pleading softly with his wife. But instead, Folashade replied angrily and said, the fact that she is a child is the reason why we must correct her now. Do you want her to become fat and unwanted? Do you want your daughter to be looking for a husband and jumping from one prayer house to the other? Do you want your daughter to be fat and remain single? I am her mother and I know what is best for her, and that is definitely not being fat. Folashade snapped back angrily at her husband. Hmm. Folashade, Folashade, you are taking this thing too far. Oh. You are taking this thing too far. Being fat would not make her unwanted. There are fatter people that are married. So stop this thing and just love our child regardless of her size. For crying out loud, she's your child. You carried her for 9 months and gave birth to her. Shouting at her and teasing her about her size would not make any difference. You would only make her feel less of herself and you would not help her achieve anything. Mr. Adekunle replied sadly. Bidemi overheard this conversation because she was hiding behind their door and eavesdropping on her parents. Tears streamed down her face, and that night she cried herself to sleep, praying silently to God to help her lose weight so that her mother would love her. But years passed and nothing changed. Bidemi only grew fatter and fatter. And by this time, her mother had graduated into embarrassing her in public. She hardly allowed her to follow her anywhere. But when it was inevitable and she had no choice than to go with her, she would scream at her angrily anytime she saw her eating, regardless of where they were. But what Folashade did not know was that the more she handled her daughter's weight this way, by talking down on her 247, the more Bidemi found comfort in food. She would hide in her room at night to eat the food that she had stolen during the day. Her mother always fed her with vegetables non-stop, and so she wondered why she was not getting slim as she wanted her to be. Folashade was very frustrated. She did not know why her daughter was not the trophy daughter that she had hoped for, and why her husband was so nonchalant about it. But despite the constant criticisms and insults that Bidemi faced from her mother, she found comfort and genuine friendship in Kemi and Ola, her two best friends. They loved her for who she was and always stood by her. One afternoon, as they walked home from school, Kemi noticed how quiet Bidemi was. Bidemi, is everything okay? Kemi asked softly. It's my mom. She said very horrible things to me again and embarrassed me in front of her friends. Bidemi said, looking very scared. Don't mind her, Jerry. What nonsense. What kind of mother does that to her own daughter? My dear, you are as perfect as you are. And one day she will regret all of this. Ola replied angrily. Bidemi just forced a weak smile and replied her saying, I hope so. Bidemi could not wait for the day that she could finally go off to the university. And one thing was sure, she knew that she was not going to school in Nigeria. She wanted to escape her mother's harsh words and judgmental eyes completely. So as she neared graduation from secondary school, she began to secretly apply for international scholarships because she wanted to study abroad and she wanted to study nutrition and know and understand the science behind food. So a few weeks after graduating from secondary school in flying colors, Bidemi got a scholarship opportunity in the UK to study her desired course, nutrition and wellness. Bidemi was so excited. So one evening, when her family was having dinner, she broke the news to her parents and said, I got a scholarship. Bidemi announced quietly, scared of what their reaction would be. Folashade, her mother, looked at her suspiciously and said, Scholarship K. To where? Why are you even looking for a scholarship? Did we tell you that we cannot pay your school fees? Besides, we have not even discussed your university options or course of study yet. Folashade said, frowning at her daughter. Yes, mom, I know, but I got a full scholarship to study at a university in the UK, and I'll be studying nutrition and wellness. Bidemi replied, her voice trembling slightly. Folashade stared at her for a few seconds and then busted out into laughter. Hey, hey, Bidemi, nutrition. You, you want to study nutrition with that body? Who will take you seriously? Anyway, over my dead body, will you study nutrition? It was bad enough that you did not turn out to be the daughter that I hoped for. But I was hoping that at least you will study law. That way you'll become a respectable member of the society. And my friends will value me, that my daughter is a lawyer. And just maybe then, I will be able to forget that you are fat and shapeless. Folashade said to her daughter in disgust. By this time, tears were already streaming down Bidemi's eyes. She wondered why her mother could not see beyond her size. Mr. Adekunle, who had been quiet all this while, suddenly shouted at his wife and said, Shade, stop this nonsense. What is your problem? I will not be surprised if you are the reason why our daughter wants to study very far away from home, when you're always criticizing and body shaming her. This is good news, yet you cannot see it. Instead of you to congratulate your daughter and tell her well done, how many of your friends' children got scholarship, but your own daughter got scholarship? And instead of you to be happy, you're here spewing nonsense out of your mouth. Mr. Adekunle screamed angrily at his wife. Folashade was still very upset, then turned to her daughter and said, Go if you want to, but if you go, just know that I have disowned you. You will not embarrass me any further. I will give birth to another daughter who will be perfect. My own daughter that will be slim, beautiful, and brilliant, and who will study law and make me proud, and even make my friends envy me. Folashade said angrily. See this woman, oh. So at your age, you are still thinking of getting pregnant. You had better not risk your life for nothing. Mr. Adewale reprimanded his wife. Then he turned to his daughter and said, Bidemi, my dear, I'm happy for you, Jare. You have made me very proud, and I assure you that I will make sure that everything you need to travel is made available. You are my daughter in whom I am well pleased. Mr. Adewale said to his daughter with a big smile on his face, and Bidemi thanked her father excitedly. So a few weeks later, Bidemi packed her bags and left Nigeria. She was broken yet determined. The UK was going to be her fresh start, a place that was far away from the hurtful words and constant shame of her mother. She worked very hard at school, learning everything about nutrition and wellness. She slowly discovered how to appreciate herself, not because she wanted her mother's approval, but because she genuinely cared about her health and happiness. And then she began to make changes to her lifestyle. And in a short while, Bidemi lost a lot of weight. Meanwhile, back in Nigeria, her mother Folashade was actually serious about giving birth to another daughter that would be slim and that would be the perfect daughter based on the image that she had built up in her head. So despite the risk involved, Folashade got pregnant. She was so happy. But as the pregnancy progressed, she became very worried because she began to put on a lot of weight. She was always hungry and was eating like a thief. She wondered why this pregnancy was so hard and difficult, why she was busy getting fatter and fatter. But she decided not to think about it. Is it not me again? Folashade, Omo sexy, Omo to show. I know all the tricks in the books about how to lose weight fast. By the time I drop this baby, I would lose all the weight in no time. Folashade said, comforting herself. But yet, she continued to put on so much weight and had gained over 40 kg during the course of her pregnancy alone. So a few months later, and Folashade gave birth to a beautiful baby girl who she named Fumi. Folashade was so happy because as Fumi grew, she was everything and more that she had dreamt of. She was slim, just the way she had always wanted Bidemi to be. She fit the perfect image that Folashade had carried in her head for a very long time. But there was one little problem. Yes, Fumi was the perfect daughter, but Folashade was not the perfect mother that she had dreamt up in her head because she was still fat and she had not been able to lose all the weight that she had accumulated during her pregnancy. And this got her very worried. Folashade literally starved herself, drinking only water for days and eating grass like a goat. She would walk out morning and night, yet she was not getting any slimmer. Her husband, Mr. Adewale, had tried to comfort her severally, saying, "Take it easy on yourself. You just had a baby. Besides, you're not as young as you used to be. You're an older woman now, and your metabolic rate is lower than it used to be. So please show yourself some grace and be gentle with yourself." Adewale would say very lovingly. But Folashade would not listen. She was too harsh on herself, trying extreme diets and killing herself while exercising. Yet there were no changes. Folashade had even gone to the hospital to see a doctor about her weight. And that was when the doctors diagnosed her of PCOS. And they told her that it was the PCOS that was making her weight loss almost impossible. Folashade was very worried and stressed out about her weight. But as Fumi grew, she became exactly what Folashade had wished for, a slim and graceful daughter. But there was just one problem again. Now, Fumi, her perfect daughter, was so embarrassed by her mother's appearance. She did not even want her mother, Folashade, to attend school functions, and she would usually beg her father to attend instead. She was embarrassed by her mother's appearance because her classmates made fun of her because her mother was fat. One day, their parents were asked to come for PTA meeting, and Folashade was excitedly preparing to attend the meeting when Fumilayo looked at her mother and said, "Mommy, please do not come today." Oh. Fumi said nervously, "Why not now, Fumi?" Folashade asked, looking perplexed. "Mommy, you already know now, you're too fat. You embarrass me. My friends laugh at me because my mother is too fat. Every time they'll be telling me, your mom is too fat. She's finishing the food in your house. Please, Sha, don't come." Fumi replied coldly. Folashade was stunned. She was literally shocked. And she immediately felt a sharp pain in her chest. And immediately it dawned on her that this was exactly the same way that she had treated Bidemi, her first daughter. And now she was having a taste of her own medicine. Tears began to stream down her eyes, and she just sat back on her bed. She decided not to go for the meeting anymore. She just stayed at home thinking about her first daughter, Bidemi. She imagined how hurt she would have been as a child by all the harsh words that she had spoken to her concerning her weight. For crying out loud, if she felt this bad as an adult, she wondered how bad her daughter felt as a child. She felt so bad. It has been donkey years since Bidemi left her home, and Bidemi had never called her for once. She did not even pick her calls anytime she called, but instead, she would speak with her father. She spoke with her father almost every 2 days. Meanwhile, Bidemi was living a good life. She had become a successful wellness influencer, known globally for promoting health, self love, and body positivity. Her name was widely known, and she had written so many books that had even become bestsellers. And her life was inspiring millions. But one day, Bidemi decided that it was time for her to return to Nigeria. She could not keep on running from her past, from her mother forever. When she got back home, her father welcomed her very warmly. He was super excited to see her, as she was excited to see him also. But her mother just stared at her in shock. She did not know how Bidemi truly felt about her, especially because of how bad she had treated her as a child. Bidemi, is that you? Folashade asked, with tears streaming down her eyes. Yes, mommy, it is me. Bidemi replied softly, trying so hard to hold back her tears. You have changed. You look so beautiful. You're so slim and graceful. You are elegant. Folashade said, her eyes filled with remorse. Mommy, you are beautiful too. Bidemi replied lovingly, it is not true. I am fat, shapeless and round. The doctor said that I have PCOS and that is why I cannot lose weight. And now your sister Fumi is embarrassed by me and would not even allow me follow her to school functions. And I am sure that my friends are also laughing and mocking me behind my back. Now I know exactly how you felt when I treated you so poorly because you were fat. Please forgive me, my daughter. I know that I am suffering the consequences of how I treated you. Now look at me. Look at how I look like. Please, my dear, forgive me. Folashade said as she broke down in tears. Bidemi hugged her mother tightly and said, I forgive you, Mom. And you're beautiful. Whether you are slim or fat, it does not matter. You are beautiful just the way you are, Bidemi said lovingly. So in the days that followed, Bidemi put her qualification to use and curated a diet plan for her mother. And in less than 4 months, her mother lost over 30 kg and reversed her PCOS. Bidemi also took out time to educate her younger sister Fumi, who she was meeting for the very first time. She told her never to body shame anybody for their body size, whether slim or fat, because there is more to a person than their physical appearance, and people should never be judged by their physical appearance. At the end of the day, Folashade was extremely proud of the woman that her daughter had become. The same child that she had despised was the same child that stood by her and was able to help her reverse her PCOS condition, which the doctors could not reverse. Folashade was so grateful to her daughter. They mended their relationship and once again began to behave like mother and daughter. Hi, besties. It's your favorite storyteller, Omalicha. Thank you so much for watching my story to the end. So first off, I'd like to hear what moral lessons did you get from this story? Then secondly, what do you think about Folashade? Do you think she deserved everything that happened to her? The way her daughter, her second daughter, Fumi, who happened to be the trophy daughter that she had always dreamt of, the way her daughter gave her a taste of her own medicine, do you think that she deserved it? Also, do you feel like she's a bad mother for going about her first daughter Bidemi's weight loss the way she went about it? Please share your thoughts with me in the comment section and please support your home girl, Omalicha, by subscribing to my channel, liking my videos, and sharing with your loved ones. So now, till I come your way again with more interesting stories, bye! Many years ago, in the beautiful city of Tanga, there lived a woman named Amina. She was a woman who knew how to talk her way out of any situation. She was sharp-tongued and very clever. She had successfully convinced her two sons, Jamal and Abdul, that she was the one providing for the family and keeping the family afloat. If not for me, you children would have nothing. Your father, that useless man, he does nothing. If I don't struggle day and night, how will you feed? How will you be well clothed? Amina would say, faking tears. And then her sons, who believed her every word, would hug her and say, Mama, we are grateful for all your sacrifices towards us. Thank you for providing for us and not abandoning us like Baba. Her sons, Jumal and Abdul, would say while hugging their mother tightly. In the early years of their marriage, Dawoodi was never around. He had to leave home very early every day and come back late at night. He never had time to sit with his children, play with them, or even tell them stories. So Amina capitalized on his absence to poison his children's mind against him, telling him that he was an irresponsible father who did not care for them or even provided for them. She lied to her children that it was the money that she got from her petty business that she used in providing for the whole family. So to the children, their father, Dawoodi, was just a shadow, a man they just shared a last name with and a house, but felt no connection to. But Amina was not always like this. She had not always hated her husband, Dawoodi. As a matter of fact, in the early years of their marriage, they were very happy. But when Amina was pregnant for their second son, something happened that literally changed everything. Amina discovered that her husband had been unfaithful to her. Initially, it had started as rumors in the neighborhood. Women would lower their voices when she walked past them, and they would stare at her with pity. At first, she dismissed it. Dawoodi, my own Dawoodi, cheat on me. That's impossible. Amina told herself, I should dismiss these rumors. Do these people even know how long this man chased me and asked me to become his girlfriend? Do they know what he did to win my love? And now, just barely 3 years later, Dawoodi would now cheat on me. That is impossible. He wouldn't dare, especially not now, when I'm carrying his second son. Amina said aloud to herself confidently. But the rumors continued, and Amina continued to ignore them. But then she started noticing some things. Her husband, Dawoodi, was changing under her very nose. He would come home late and smell faintly of perfume. And when Amina asked him where he was coming from, he would give one excuse or the other and avoid looking at her straight in the eyes. And things continued like this for a while. But one day, the name of the other woman that Dawoodi was seeing finally came to light. Her name was Halima. Halima was the mistress who had stolen Amina's husband away from her. Halima was a widow and lived not too far away from their own house. She was beautiful and way younger than Amina and was very extroverted. One evening, Dawoodi told Amina that he was going to a friend's house to go borrow some tools to do some repairs at home. But what he did not know was that Amina secretly followed him. And instead of him to go to the so-called friend's house, Amina saw her husband enter Halima's compound. Amina was very shocked. Her heart broke into 1,000 pieces. And to even make matters worse, she watched as Halima opened the door and smiled warmly at her husband. And as if that was not enough, Dawoodi still leaned further and kissed her. By this time, Amina was broken. She immediately ran back home and broke down in tears. She could not believe that her precious husband, Dawoodi, was cheating on her. So that night, when Dawoodi came back home, she confronted him angrily. How could you do this to me? I thought you loved me. Why are you cheating on me? And with a widow for that matter? What did I ever do to deserve this? I hate you. You're nothing but a filthy cheat, and I promise you that I will deal with you. You will regret the day you... ever cheated on me in this life? Amina said as she broke down in tears. Dawoodi, her husband, immediately fell to his knees, pleading and begging his wife. I am sorry, it was a mistake. I promise you that it will never happen again. Please forgive me. I will cut off all ties with her. Dawoodi said, pleading and crying because he truly loved his wife, Amina. But Amina would not budge. She was very hot, and for many weeks, despite her condition, she locked up herself in her room, crying and weeping profusely. But after a few weeks, she told her husband that she had forgiven him, and Dawoodi thanked her and promised her not to ever cheat on her ever again in his life. But what Dawoodi did not know was that Amina still kept a grudge against him and was thinking of the best way to revenge and teach him a lesson for his betrayal. So one day, the perfect revenge occurred to her. She knew how much Dawoodi loved their first son, Juma, and how he was a very great father. So from that day forward, she decided that she was going to turn Juma and her unborn child against her husband, as she knew that it was the only way to really hurt him. She wanted him to feel the same pain that she had felt by his betrayal. So a few months later, and Amina gave birth to another son, whom they named Abdul. Amina was so happy, but she never forgot her decision to turn her children against her husband. So, right from when they were kids, if the boys misbehaved as children often did, and if their father reprimanded them or corrected them, Amina would call her children behind his back and comfort them, saying, don't mind your father. He does not love you. He's a very wicked man. But always remember that I, your mother, I love you so much and I will do anything for you. Amina would say to her kids. So she started very early to poison her children's minds against her husband. Sometimes, if her husband refused to give the children simple things as biscuits, she would call them aside and secretly give them that same biscuit that her husband refused to give them. She made sure to always defy her husband's instructions as regards the children. She wanted her children to see her as the good parent and see her husband as the wicked and heartless father. And things continued like this for a while. But one day, Dawoodi came back home very broken. He had lost his job. As a matter of fact, a lot of people had been retrenched at his place of work. Dawoodi was so sad. But after a few weeks, he dusted up himself and started going from one job interview to the other. But he had no luck. All his job interviews were unsuccessful. So Dawoodi decided to settle for menial jobs instead. So, of all the menial jobs that he saw, he decided to work at a construction company because it was the highest paying so far of all the menial job offers that were available to him. But there was one problem. It was outside the city where his family lived. It was at Arusha. Dawoodi was so worried because he did not want to live apart from his family. But then he also needed the money because he could not watch his family starve. So he decided to make the difficult decision. He was going to take up the job offer at Arusha. And since he did not have money to relocate his family with him to the new city, he decided that he would be coming back home to visit his family at least twice every month. So Dawoodi spoke to his wife about his decision, but she was very indifferent about it. The only thing that mattered to her was that he provided for the family. Besides, She saw it as an opportunity to fully turn her sons against their father as punishment for cheating on her. So a few days later, and Daudi had to move to Arusha for work. Daudi worked on a big construction site, helping to build a new hotel. Every morning he was at the site. His job was very hard, lifting heavy bags, pushing wheelbarrows that were full of sand, and climbing up shaky wooden ladders with bricks in his hands. Dawoodi worked really hard, but he had no choice because his family needed the money. As he walked, he thought about his wife Amina and their two sons, Jumal and Abdul. The thought of them kept him going. He missed them dearly, and each time it was time for him to return back home, he would be so excited and pack all sorts of goodies for his children. But every time he went back home, his sons would barely talk to him. They would not even greet him properly. He initially thought that it was the distance that was affecting their relationship. The fact that he was not always around. So he decided to make more efforts in connecting with his sons. But yet, their attitude towards him did not change. And things continued like this for the next few years. Every day, after the close of work, Dawoodi would call his wife over the phone to speak to her and his sons. But she would always come up with one excuse or the other, saying that the children were sleeping, or they were doing their homeworks, or they were out playing with friends. She barely allowed him talk to the kids. And this became very frequent. And Dawoodi got very worried. So one of the days when he was back home, he called his wife and spoke to her saying, "Babe, why do our children avoid me when I am home and refuse to speak to me over the phone when I am away? Is there something I am doing wrong? Can you please put in a good word for me to our children and let them know that I am not absent because I just want to be absent, but that I'm working for them so I can provide for you and for the children. I work very hard. You need to see the kind of job that I do. I literally break my back under the sun for you all. Please speak to them on my behalf." Dawoodi would say sadly to his wife. And Amina would simply reply and say, "Okay, oh, but you must know that the children are growing fast and are old enough to form their own opinions. But no problem, I will speak to them." Amina would reply coldly, but she never put in a good word for him with the children. Instead, she continued to say hurtful things about their father to them. She liked the fact that he was hurt, that his children did not want anything to do with him. Dawoodi was always sad and could hardly concentrate at his place of work. Each time he wiped the sweat from his forehead, he thought of his sons and how they treated him. He was tired of working from morning to night, only for his sons to treat him like a total stranger. He wished that they could see how hard he worked to provide for them. He wondered if they knew how many nights he had to sleep hungry just so they could eat. Dawoodi was devastated. So one day, he decided to speak to his friend Omar. "Please, my friend, advise me. I do not know what to do. I work like a donkey every day, breaking my back to provide for my family. Yet, when I go home, my sons will not even look at me. They don't even respect me. Not to talk of loving me. The only person they love is their mother." Dawoodi said, looking very sad. Omar simply shook his head and said, "Ah, my brother, women can be dangerous sometimes. Your wife is definitely poisoning their minds against you. But what could she be telling them?" Omar asked, looking very shocked. "I don't know exactly. I don't know what she's telling them, but I can feel it. Sometimes, I hear some things in their conversation. They literally think that I do nothing for them. They think that I'm a bad father. I know that she's poisoning their minds against me. Even when I try to talk to them, they ignore me or talk back at me as though I am their age mate. You need to see how they celebrate her. On her birthday or Mother's Day, they literally celebrate her like a queen. But on Father's Day or even my birthday, they will not even wish me ordinary happy Father's Day or even tell me happy birthday. Dawoodi replied, tears streaming down his eyes. Ah, this is bad though. How can a woman make her children hate their own father? And the funny thing now is that they will not even know the truth until it is too late. But tell me, my friend, why would she do this? You know, there cannot be smoke without fire. Oh. Because women always want their children to be close to their fathers. So for your wife to be intentionally severing your relationship with them, that means something must have happened. What did you do to your wife before now? Omar asked, looking concerned. Dawoodi simply stared at him for a long time and then said, I have been good to my wife, but I am not sure why she's doing this. I think the only time that I really hurt her was when I made a mistake several years ago. I cheated on her. I had an affair. Yes, I was very stupid. And she found out. And since then, even though she says that she has forgiven me, but I do not think that she has really forgiven me. I have apologized, I have begged, I have cried, but she has not let it go. She acts normal in public, but at home, she is teaching my sons to hate me and to defy me. Dawoodi replied sadly, my friend, what you did was very wrong, yes. But how long would she punish you? If she wanted to leave, she would have left. But why has she decided only to turn your own sons against you? That is wickedness. Two wrongs never make a right. Anyway, do not worry, my friend. Just keep on trying. Keep talking to your sons. One day, they too will be men. They would get married and will see for themselves what it means to be a father. They may not understand now, but life will teach them. But in the meantime, keep working, keep providing for your family. Even if they do not appreciate your efforts now, one day your sons will appreciate it. They will come around. Omar said to his friend, trying to comfort him, and Dawoodi thanked him profusely for his kind words. So Dawoodi took his friend's advice and continued to break his back for his family and kept on sending money back home. While his wife Amina, on the other hand, continued to sow seed of discord in the heart of her children against their father, telling them all manner of unprintable things against him. She told them that their father did not care about them and that he spent all his time and money with other women and only sent back peanuts for them to use and manage. She told them that she was the one doing the heavy lifting, that she was the one struggling to feed them. She made sure that the boys never saw any sign of Dawoodi's contribution. If he sent money for food, she would cook and tell them, see what your mother has done for you today. See the delicious meal that I have provided for you with my money. If her husband sent money for clothes, she would say, I had to remind your father 10 times before he finally sent something small for me to buy clothes for you. I had to add the bulk of my money to buy these clothes. And even when he called, she would put the phone on the speaker and roll her eyes and say things like, oh, so now you remember that you have children, so you are no longer so busy. Please, please, please do not disturb us. Amina would say she was very deliberate and intentional about poisoning her children's minds against their father. And the boys absorbed every single thing. Jumal and Abdul were now teenagers but hated and resented their father so much. They grew to see their father as nothing but a distant burden. Every year during Amina's birthday, It was usually a grand affair because Jumal and Abdul would save up their pocket money to buy their mother gifts and would even gather neighbors and cousins, decorate their small living room, and sing for her. Sweet mother, I no go forget you for this suffer where you suffer for me. And that is how they will go on and on singing the praises of their mother. They would even go as far as telling their mother, Mom, you are both our mother and father. Juma would say. And Amina would stand there smiling proudly, soaking in all the praise. Meanwhile, on their father's birthday, they would never call to wish him happy birthday, not to talk of even celebrating him or buying him a gift. Dawoodi was broken, but still continued to show up and provide for his family. And things continued like this for the next few years. One day, when Dawoodi took his leave at the construction site and came back to spend time with his sons, he bought them gifts and walked into the house excitedly to see them. Jamal, Abdul, come, let's sit together today, he said warmly. But they just stared at him coldly and said, Dad, did you think we are kids? And do you think that these gifts that you bought would make up for the years that you abandoned us for other women while our mother had to suffer to provide for us? Jamal spoke back at his father angrily. Dawoodi was so hurt. But Amina, who was sitting in the corner, was very satisfied. Dawoodi tried again and again to plead with his sons and tell them his own side of the story, but they would not give him listening ears. One night, he tried one last time. He sat his sons down and spoke to them, saying, My sons, I do not know the lies that your mother has fed you with that makes you hate me and despise me so much. I have always loved you both, and you're the reason I work very hard at a construction site under the sun. I did not abandon you. It is because I am away that I can pay for your school fees and provide for the home. You too will be fathers one day. And I pray that your wives will not turn your children against you, the way your mother has turned you both against me. I just pray that you will never have to feel this pain that your mother has made me go through. Dawoodi said sadly. But Jamal and Abdul simply looked away. They did not even feel a single bit of remorse. They were literally unmoved. A few days later, and nothing had changed. They still treated their father like trash. So a few weeks after that, and Dawoodi could not take it any longer. Dawoodi simply packed a few of his belongings and left his home. He was done trying and begging for love and affection from his wife and sons. Since Amina had been lying to the children that she was the one doing all the heavy lifting, then it was time for him to spend his money on himself and allow his wife take up the responsibility that she claimed to carry. So Dawoodi left. When Amina woke up and realized that her husband had packed his bag and left for good, Amina was very scared. How will I cater for my sons all by myself? This and many thoughts raced through her mind. But when her sons came in, she pretended to be excited and then looked at them and said, Your good for nothing father has finally abandoned us. I'm sure he has gone to meet one of those his useless mistresses. As you can see, he has packed all his bags and left us. Nonsense. Good riddance to bad rubbish. Amina said to her children, feigning excitement, and they all rejoiced. So Amina and her children moved on with their lives without her husband and their father Dawoodi. Initially, everything seemed just fine and okay. But as the months passed, Amina began to run out of money. She had exhausted all the money that she had, and her petty business had closed down because they had been feeding from the business. But as the months passed, they were getting poorer and poorer by the day. Amina could no longer afford to feed herself and her sons. Her sons were very hungry and got really upset and kept on nagging at their mother. She could not even afford to pay their school fees any longer. Mama, where is food now? We have not eaten chicken, we don't eat meat, we don't eat eggs anymore. We just keep on eating rice and rice all day. We do not go to school anymore as we have been sent out of school because you cannot pay our school fees. I thought you said that daddy was not providing for us and that you were the only one providing for us. You told us that daddy was useless, but since he left, we have been suffering. We do not feed well anymore and we've been chased out of school. What is really happening to us, Mama? Juma and Abdul asked, looking really upset. And Amina looked away in shame. How could she tell her sons the truth? That there was no food, there was no money, and there was no hope for money. The children screamed angrily at her again and said, You lied to us. Mom, you lied to us. You made us hate our father for no reason. You're very wicked. Amina was broken. She could not deny it. Now the truth had come to light, and her children could see that she had been lying to them all these years. She had not been the provider. It had been their father all along who was working so hard to give them a good life. And now that he was gone, their life had become very miserable. So Jamal and Abdul started looking for a way to contact their father. Meanwhile, their father Dawoodi had become a very successful man. He had won a lottery and had left his job at the construction site. As a matter of fact, he now lived in a mansion and even opened a business and was doing so well for himself. He had even begun to date a beautiful young lady named Zuri, who he planned to marry. And for the first time in many years, Dawoodi was truly happy. He found comfort and love in the arms of Zuri, something he had not felt in the hands of his wife for many years. So after several weeks of searching, Juma and Abdul finally found their father. They went into his beautiful mansion, and Jamal and Abdul knelt before their father, their heads bowed in shame. Baba, we have wronged you. We believed everything that Mama told us without ever asking you the truth or hearing your own side of the story. We called you a bad father, we disrespected you, and we pushed you away. But now we know better. You were the one who worked hard for us, the one who sacrificed every single thing, and we turned our backs on you. We are so sorry. Please forgive us, Jamal said. Then Abdul looked at their father and said, Baba, we know that we do not deserve your forgiveness, but we are begging for it. We are ashamed of the way we treated you. Please give us another chance to make things right. Please let us be your sons again. Abdul said, pleading with his father. Dawoodi stared at his sons for a long moment and then said, My sons, you hurt me deeply. I gave you every single thing, yet you rejected me. Do you know how painful it was to be treated like a stranger in my own family? I suffered for so many years because of how you all treated me. But I do not blame you. Your mother was the one who poisoned your minds against me. Still, you are my blood, and a father can never truly stop loving their own child. I forgave you a long time ago, even before you asked for my forgiveness. So come here, my sons. Come and give your father a big hug. I can never ever stop loving you. Dawoodi said as he hugged his sons. And so from that day onwards, they began to live together happily. They repaired their relationship and began to behave like father and sons. And a few weeks later, their father got married to Zuri, his girlfriend, and he lived happily ever after with his new wife and two sons. Jamal and Abdul never checked on their mother anymore. Meanwhile, by this time, hunger had dealt miserably with Amina. She could not even feed herself. She had no skills to get a job, and had no money to start a business. So she had to start begging for alms to feed herself. But of all these things, what hurt her the most was the fact that her sons had turned their backs on her. All that she had tried to do to her husband had backfired on her. Now, instead of her sons hating their father, they hated her and wanted nothing to do with her. They now called another woman, Zuri, their father's new wife, mother. Amina was broken. She wept and wept. She wished she could turn back the hands of time, but it was too late. Hi, besties! It's your favorite storyteller, Omalicha. Thank you so much for watching my story to the end. So let's hear your thoughts on this one. First off, what do you think about Amina? Do you think it served her right that the pit she dug for her husband, that she fell in it? There are also lots of moral lessons to take away from this story. First off, as women, even if your husband hurts you, or the marriage is not working, whatever it is, I do not think it is right to weaponize children, like use your children as weapons of warfare. I don't think it is right. What do you think? Do you think it's okay to withhold your child to punish your husband, that kind of a thing? What do you think about it? Then lastly, as husbands, if you know the kind of woman that you married, and you know that she's very mean, and know that she's poisoning your children against you, then I think you need to show your children that you're working, you're providing for them. You need to show them you're the one paying the school fees, you're the one bringing the money for feeding. You need to show them that you are the one doing these things, so that the mother will not take away all the glory and say that, yeah, your father is not doing anything. Then I believe that if Dawoodi had tackled this at an earlier stage, when he noticed that the wife was poisoning the minds of his children, it wouldn't have gotten this far. Or what do you think? How do you think that Dawoodi should have handled it, since he already knew that his wife was poisoning the minds of his children? What do you think he should have done? Please share your thoughts with me in the comment section, and please support your home girl, Omalicha, by subscribing to my channel, liking my videos, and sharing with your loved ones. So now, till I come your way again with more interesting stories, bye!